One thing I absolutely love to do is travel. And I don't get the opportunity to do it as much as I would like to these days. But I did get to travel north last week for a family reunion on the coast of Lake Michigan. And it was such a lovely time. And I will tell you a little bit about it, and I'll show you some varied bits of art inspired by that trip. And if you've seen some of my videos in the past, you know that the art just might have some goofy stories attached to them. The last family reunion I went to was 7 years ago, and I really do love them. My immediate family is rather small, perhaps we could say fun-sized, so being able to see 50 or 60 of my relatives from all over the country is a gift. Now, I got to stay in a really nice beach house right on the lake, so that's what I'm drawing here. It had the perfect view from the back balcony, and we had a good number of conversations there, including getting to know a new aunt. It is amazing what genealogy websites and a little spit in a tube can reveal. It was the first time meeting her for me, and it was the first time for her to meet anyone other than my mom and dad on this side of her family. And I'll tell you, she fits right in. So what a great, happy thing that was. This location was sort of, I guess, like a family resort. There were maybe 20 or so cabins or houses right on the property. So as you walked around, well, there's family from Wisconsin. Oh, family from California. Oh, Ohio. That's really a cool way to have a reunion. You know, you can gather together in a central area, but you can still unwind in your own comfortable space with your closest family. I was in a house with enough space for 7, including my sister and my nieces and nephews, and I haven't seen them in, well, it seemed like forever. And the kids are now teenagers, so it was cool getting to know them as young adults. I mean, seriously, one of the highlights of the trip. I have not laughed so hard in a long time, and I know a whole lot more slang, which I have been forbidden to ever use, lest the slang become useless. So you know what I did? I took those instructions and I ate them right up. Or something. Left no crumbs. I know I miss using those. In the evenings, our little group of 7 got into some highly philosophical discussions, or perhaps disagreements, peer-reviewed scientific findings, and one such critical subject came to light after a bonfire and the traditional making of the s'mores. What we wanted to know was how far could we go away from the boring old basic s'more and still have a s'more, technically. So, led by our panel of teenage scientists, we agreed on a definition of a s'more.
A treat consisting of roasted marshmallows and a bar of chocolate sandwiched between 2 graham crackers.
And being the analytical sorts that we are, we broke that definition down further by defining each word in that definition, and then often defining some of those defining words. We decided that those little tiny Teddy Grahams would still qualify as a graham cracker, being made of graham flour and still being able to be snapped or crunched like a cracker. For the marshmallow, or it's a marshmallow, I've never in my life felt comfortable saying marshmallow. We vacillated for a while on marshmallow fluff in a jar, and for a while we accepted that. But we also thought a peep would fit the definition, and it was more interesting, so we stuck with that. The bar of chocolate caused the most hurt feelings. We decided that as long as the chocolate was actually chocolate, even with additives, and it was a plank that could be snapped or broken, it would fit the definition of a bar of chocolate. Some were absolutely appalled by the suggestion of an Andes mint, but the majority felt that this was still acceptable according to the definition. The marshmallow needs to be roasted, which, campfires are so 2023. Roasting requires radiant heat, and a hot sidewalk will do that just fine. And that's what we decided on. One oversight we had for a long time was that our agreed upon definition called for roasted marshmallows, S, plural, which is ridiculous. But who are we to argue with science? It's possible that no one in the history of s'mores has ever made a proper s'more. So we decided cutting the peep in half creates 2 marshmallows, but it also shows you why we needed to eliminate marshmallow fluff from the list of approved s'more components. Some other critical findings: pizza is an open-faced sandwich, but if you take a slice of pizza and fold it, it would become a regular sandwich. A bread bowl containing soup is a sandwich, surprisingly. Someone asked if a pond would be considered soup. It cannot be considered soup, not being in a serving bowl, but a fish tank or a fish bowl would indeed be soup, as long as someone desired to eat it. Also, a s'more, once the graham crackers have been sliced, perhaps with your teeth, would also fall into the category of a sandwich. We argued until the late hours of night, so you don't have to. You are welcome. Did you like my little beach rock mandala? Man, that beach had the best selection of rocks. I was really impressed. That is a very nice beach near South Haven. I wasn't expecting much for some reason, I guess because the previous time I was in the area, the beach was almost non-existent and it was pretty rocky. But this beach was that powdery sand and you could walk or run for miles either way along the shoreline. And it's fresh water. And to me that feels so much better than salty seawater. And no sharks. Not that I've ever been afraid of sharks, but apparently some people are because they put that on their t-shirts and stickers around that area. Lake Michigan, no salt, no sharks. Actually it's not a bad advertisement. The sunsets, though, were truly remarkable. People would get in their beach chairs and beach towels and just watch the sun melt into the horizon. I tried to capture that here with this watercolor painting. 1 or 2 days there were no clouds, but I actually prefer the clouds. I think it's more interesting with the colors and shapes. And I think that this painting captures the feeling, I think, overall that you would get from the beach. And yeah, I think I'm really pleased with this one. I think this one worked out pretty well. I don't do many lakescapes or seascapes, so I began most of these sketches and paintings while in Michigan, and I had this idea of creating a bit of a sketchbook collage sort of thing. My friend Marcy over at Sketchbook Scheming has a number of fantastic travel vlogs displaying art inspired by her travels, with some almost like scrapbook textures and fold-outs and sketches. Well, I just really enjoy her creations, and you might too. A link to her channel is in the description. I wanted to do something like I had seen her do, but I soon discovered that this wasn't really the sort of trip that lent itself well to this sort of thing. For one, we didn't really stray far or often from our reunion site, and I took a fair number of photographs, but they usually had people in them who may not want to be included in a public video. So I may do something like that for myself later, but I did want to tip my cap to Marcy for the inspiration because, honestly, I've never even attempted to chronicle a vacation with artwork, oddly enough. This drawing I'm doing here is from my morning visits to the beach before most people were even out of bed. One thing I will note here is that this scene, as I drew it, does not exist. Most of the elements are correct, but I've edited out those annoying swim at your own risk signs and trash bins. Oh, and there were blackbirds, but not so elegantly perched like that. They seem to be pecking around for food in the sand. As artists, we have the power to create such idealized scenes, or we can even invent scenes that never happened, like this one. Well, it happened, but not exactly like this. I slept in the main room of our cabin, and at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I heard someone leave through the front door. I thought it was one person that had told me earlier that they were going to be out late, but not long after that, the person came back in through the back door. And I was really confused because it made no sense to come in that way. But I just wrote it off as a teenager thing. And then someone else came in the front door, which was the person I expected to be outside, and I talked to them, and they had no idea about the back door thing. And once we all got together in the morning, my sister was saying that some guy was out in the balcony in the middle of the night, in her words, skulking. And she was kind of freaked out until my nephew said, "Oh, I think that was me." Like he thought he dreamed it, but nope. For real, he went outside sleepwalking, thought there was an animal he had to fight off, probably this really super cute black squirrel, and somehow he went down the hill, climbed the spiral staircase back up to the back balcony, which I didn't even know existed, and voila! Oh man, this drawing is not of my nephew. It is of the imagined skulking weirdo. The exact pose, though, was reenacted for more accuracy. Thank you for joining me on this vacation art vlog sort of thing, and I do hope you had a good time. If so, maybe give this a like and consider subscribing. It really helps me to achieve my long-term goals, to create better and better videos, and a great art community. Thank you for stopping by, and I will have a new video for you very soon. Bye-bye.